Recall our programming problem for putting together the pieces Program 1 for CSC 161, an Introduction to Java Programming. A person's ideal aerobic training heart rate can be approximated using the following formula. 0.7 times 220 minus their age plus 0.3 times their resting pulse. We need to create a program that asks the user to enter their name, age, and resting pulse, calculates the person's recommended training heart rate for the aerobic exercise, and reports the training heart rate to the user. We have already built the shell for this, as well as the variables and the output. This video focuses on writing the code necessary to get the keyboard input from the user. Here is our shell. We see that we have the programmer name, date, and a description of the purpose of this program in the top of the file. These are the minimum sufficient commenting that you need at the top of every program. Next we see the package name, public class training heart rate, and our public static void main. Let's scroll down and take a look at what's in the code so far. We see we have our variables declared. Now we have default values in here right now. We're going to ask for their name, their age, and their resting pulse. But since we have those default values already in there, we can run this program and produce output. We see that the output is for buff guy. Your recommended aerobic training heart rate is 158.1. And that was based on buff being age 25 with a resting pulse of 72. Now I could run this program several times, but it's only going to give us the same output. We absolutely need to get input from the user and let the formula figure out their training heart rate. So how do we do that? Well, we know that we need to use a scanner class. Recall that the first thing we need to do is import the scanner class. So let's add that to the top of our program right under the package training heart rate. On the starting code, this will be on line 15 when you load the project into NetBeans. We need to import java.util.scanner. Don't forget your semicolon. So we will be using a scanner object to capture the input from the user. We're going to scroll down and let's go ahead and create that scanner object right under where we had string name initialized to buff guy. We use the name of the class, scanner, and we give it a name. Let's call it get input. We then need to type an equal, the keyword new, the word scanner again with a capital S. What we're doing here is invoking a special method called a constructor that will initialize that scanner object for us. Now we need to give it some input here. We want to initialize it with the system.in. By typing system.in inside the parentheses, we're telling Java that we want to get this input from the keyboard. I'm going to enter so we have a little bit of a break before the give instructions to the user comment. These we don't need to make any changes to. When the user types their name, we want to read that into the name variable. The way we do that now that we have our scanner object is to set the name, assign to that get input dot next line. next line method will capture everything that the user types in up to their typing in the enter key. I'm going to type an enter again to give a little space here. Now we could go ahead and try this out. Why don't we just run it right now and see what we get? And we see there are the instructions. This program calculates the recommended training heart rate for you when you're doing aerobic exercises. You will need to enter your age and resting pulse, and it asks them for their name. I'm going to type my name. And then the program responds by saying, "Hello Anita, what is your age?" "Thank you. Now what is your resting pulse?" And I'm still getting the recommended heart rate of 158.1 because Buff's information is inside the resting pulse and the age. So let's fix that. Let's go back to our program. Now the next thing we need to capture is the age. Recall we made the age type int. We're going to type age assigned get input, because that's the name of our scanner object, and what we want them to be typing in now is an integer. So this time we capture the next int. Since the resting pulse is also type int, let's just go ahead and add that line. Under the prompt, resting pulse assigned get input dot next int. Let's just review this quickly. We added the import statement at the top of the program. We created a scanner object named getInput. We added this to line 32. Then we used the scanner object named getInput to capture string data by using the next line method, the getInput.nextInt to capture integer input for the age and for the resting pulse. Let's run the program. We see the instructions and the question, what is your name? What is your name? Because I used a print statement, I'll be able to type my name right next to the what is your name prompt. What is your age? Now what is your resting pulse? Well, I think mine's about 67. So according to our formula, my training heart rate would be about 145.